We are live. We are waiting for other people to come in. So just the mosquitoes are terrible out here. 1 second, everybody. We will be waiting. Mark Baldwin is supposed to join us. Welcome to the Monday Q Week in Review, and sponsored by Perun. And I'll tell you a little bit about it in a minute. Mosquitoes are crazy. I'm going to go quickly through. Peter Kuest is going to join us. Reid Martin is going to join us. Peter is, I'm going to send him here a text in a minute. Quickly, we will go through the, before Peter joins us, real quickly through the John Deere Monday. So PGA Tour Canada is off this week. Corn Ferry Tour is off this week. So only Monday, the LPGA is having their U.S. Open. The John Deere Classic was the only Monday today. And what a story it was. Reid Martin has been a caddy on the PGA Tour, the LPGA, Corn Ferry, a lot of the time for Mark Hubbard, and then Ryan O'Neal on the LPGA, and graduated from college in 2013, Central Florida. Got into caddying right after that. Has always been known as a good player, but then he decided to play, and this was his first Monday qualifier attempt in 8 years. 8 years, and he shot 62. I'm going to add Mark to the stream. Hey, Mark, we're live.
Hey, Ryan. Fashionably late.
Yes. Reid Martin gets through the pre-Q on the number, and then started on 10 today and went par, birdie, 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 par, birdie, birdie, birdie for a 29 in his first Monday qualifier in 8 years after caddying on the LPGA and PGA Tour. Shoots a 62, wins by 3. Never hear of Monday qualifiers winning by 3 very often. So that's amazing. Let me send the link to Peter quickly, and then we'll get back to it.
Pretty exciting that Peter's joining us. We've got a good one for you.
Yeah, he just sent me a text and said 7:30. So no problem. So we'll try to get Reid on first. Mark, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. Good to see you. Look at that. Look at that place. You're one with nature out there. How is that happening?
Yep. So quickly, our sponsor is Perun. So quickly, let me look. So that is the Perun battery. It has 3 AC outlets, 4 USB. You can charge your car in this thing. There's, endless stuff in here. You have a DC outlet, 3 ACs, jumper cables. You can power your car with this thing. I'm in the middle of nowhere. The mosquitoes are brutal.
You look like you're camping, and you could have some mosquito zapper out there plugged into your Perun right now.
Good. Next time I'm going to have a mosquito scare. So let's go through the rest. So Perun, powered by Perun.com. Go check them out. They're awesome. These things are really useful. I'm going to the beach with the family tomorrow. Definitely be taking it because qualifying for the Open Championship happens tomorrow. There's a preview of that coming out. Our editor, Mark Godich, just got done with it. So that will be out in the morning, and I'll be following along with that, and I'll be taking my Perun battery so I can do that. Second place, or all of these players tied at 7 under. Anders Larson. Anders Larson grew up in a tiny little town and went to Pine High School in Minnesota. I looked it up after Mark's friend Eric sent us a message that he knew where he grew up. 400 students total. Played 3 sports. Goes to Tennessee Tech. So, I don't know how Tennessee Tech is in golf, but I'm sure it's not a power. And I just tweeted it out a little bit before, but got a message from the guy he played with. Made birdie on 17 in the pre-qualifier, and then on 18th put himself in a bad spot, and couldn't get the bunker shot close. And of course he hits it to 20 feet and rattles it in. It hit the back of the cup, jumps up in the hole, and he got through on the number. So there's the fine line of making it or not making it. Dude made a 20-footer to get through the pre-Q, then shoots 7 under today. He's a sophomore in college.
Well, he may be used to slower greens based on the message that my friend Eric sent.
Yes.
He said that Anders grew up on a typical small Minnesota course with a quote unquote shit range. So it's possible he's used to some slower greens and putting a little more aggressively. So
yes,
congratulations to him on that putt.
Yudo Katsu. I should have had Mark pronounce this name. Yudo Kasagawa got through the sectionals for the U.S. Open, made the cut, finished 58th there. Stayed and chased him Monday, and now through the John Deere. This will be his 4th PGA Tour event. Monday qualified for the Sony earlier this year. 24 years old, plays the Japan Tour. And then Kato Onoshi went to USC and birdied his last 2 today to shoot 65 and get in. So those are your 4. Guy made a hole-in-one on a par 4 today. I tweeted out that he went 1, not in this order, but he made a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 in a 5-hole stretch. So, and misses by 1. Dylan Meyer, who I have put in my list of top 10 players that have not, that don't have status, and he was number 10, missed by 1. So he played well again. The 16th must have been playing easy, not easy enough to make a part, but there were a hole-in-one. But there was a couple eagles on there. Dylan was one of those players, but falls 1 short. Stephen Im. Mark, when's the last time you saw Stephen Im in a tournament?
Boy, it's been a long time. Probably 2019 Corn Ferry Tour, maybe?
Yeah.
I would say that's in that time range, 2018 to 2019.
Yeah. Steve's played at the University of Iowa. Lives there. I'm not sure if they have. I haven't seen him in a long time, and he showed up, and that's it. Missed by 1.
As a quick aside here, Ryan, have you established who is the number 9 player on your top 10 players?
I have, status? But I am not going to put it out because that's why you have to sign up for the email. So I'll send the link out earlier or tonight to sign up for the email. And yes, he's a left-hander. That will be my only. That'll be my only hint of the day.
That actually really
waiting on Reid, and we might have to. What I might do is just record Peter later and put it out. We'll see. Waiting on Reid. Mark, how you feeling, buddy? I heard you were a little under the weather today.
This last week, I think, took a lot out of me playing in the AVT Tour Children's Hospital of Illinois Championship, and it was a fantastic event. I wrote an article about it. I think all of my energy went into the overcoming of disappointment, and then writing an article. I was ecstatic for my good friend Charlie Saxon. Shot 25 under par. It feels like he is back. That is his lowest total to par on the 72-hole event ever. Very exciting for him. And I think that is an announcement that he has reemerged as a once again contender. So very uplifted by him.
Yeah, Charlie's we use this term too often, but for Charlie, it's truly not a stretch of any means. One of the nicest people out there. Stood in the parking lot, talked to both of us. Just the nicest guy there is. And, for a while there, mostly because of injuries, was pretty lost. And when you're kind of dominating like he did in China, then come to Corn Ferry the second time and play well year after year, almost get your PGA Tour card, and then battle injuries and, quote unquote disappear. We all, us nerds, knew that he was around, but you can just see him going and started a family, those kind of things. You could just see him going like, hey, this is enough. I'm going to go do something. But I got a sense in your article and the sense talking to him is like, there isn't any of that. He's just like, hey, I need to get healthy. I'm getting healthy and I'm getting back to playing. And that was pretty evident. There hasn't been a lot of good results. That doesn't necessarily mean, as Mark knows way better than I do, that scores doesn't always mean you're not close, but there is, he didn't get through the good, which was quote unquote relatively easy to get to the 12, those kind of things. So it was kind of, it was very good to see that he shot 25 under. I mean, It's been a long time.
He's been building results, and that's it. Very rarely happens where you're totally lost and then all of a sudden you find something and within a matter of a week you shoot 25 under. He's been building incrementally, and that's what he kept saying is when in his lowest moments he was looking forward to the future. He was clinging on to hope, knowing that he had done it in the past. Obviously had some very dark moments. There were some very deep questions on sleepless nights, but it's all about incremental and steady improvement, and that's where he focused. And you could see it in his results. Yes, he didn't get through the good, but you can see in his Monday Q scores, in his APT scores, he's been shooting 2 under, 3 under just consistently, and it's all built to this. I think this particular event was a somewhat of a throwback to him. I mean, we got there and there was the entire course, Metamora Fields Golf Club, was blanketed in wildfire smoke. It was like a nice China day. When we played PGA Tour China together, he dominated, and that took him back, I think, maybe triggered some of those old feelings of stepping into the first round as the favorite. So, again, very excited for him.
All right. I'm going to wait a few more minutes, and then what I'll do is record them after the interviews, and I'll put them out after I'm done. The bugs are eating me alive. Mark, your thoughts on the APT Tour event in general? Many tours are not often fun, and not that we had a ton of fun.
I think
individually, but
so this will tie into this week's Corn Ferry event. But I think if you had have taken the Corn Ferry field and you had have just not kept the branding as it was on the APT Tour this week, you had to just dropped the entire field straight into Metamora Fields Golf Club and let them experience the tournament as it was for us, they wouldn't have known the difference between the Corn Ferry Tour and the APT, just in terms of how they were treated and how the atmosphere felt. That's a huge testament to a very strong mini tour event that's simulating how it feels at the next level. So, to Gary and to their entire team, they dealt with a lot of weather and challenges this week and handled it gracefully. So it was a fantastic event, but looking at what happened over on Corn Ferry Tour, we haven't mentioned that Paul Barjan, who we played with at Barracuda, who was, speaking of players who have felt lost, turned his season around, found the winner's circle, and just gave a beautiful and emotional interview after he won.
There is some rumors. I have to confirm with Paul, but there is some rumors that Paul gets $500,000 for using a PXG putter to win a Corn Ferry event. So might have been the reason a little more emotional as he was cashing a check for 5 times what he earned on the Corn Ferry as a bonus for using a PXG putter. For those that don't know, at one time, I know there's a bonus for using a putter, and I believe the bonus for using a driver is $1 million. And an unnamed, now live player once told us in a Monday qualifier that using that would cost him way more than $1 million, so he couldn't use it.
I think at the time it was $500K to use the driver.
Oh, is it? Okay.
He said it would have cost him $1 million.
Yeah.
But yes, please confirm that he gets paid that amount of money to use a PXG putter. That would be very surprising, and I'm going to run straight down to PXG headquarters here and beg them
see if I can get a putter. The bugs are eating me alive. I haven't heard from either of the people that were supposed to be on. This is the joys of a Monday Q review live. I have heard from Peter. He just said a food truck showed up. He's going to eat that, and then we'll do that. So I'll put that out separately. I'll wait for Reid to get back to me. Reid, this is the Monday Q grind right here. Oh, hold on. Hold, please. He's coming in.
Fantastic. Set the stage for us, Ryan. Where has Reid been?
Yeah, so
recently?
I mean, this is classic. In a Monday Q, there he is. He's out on the golf course. I mean, just classic Monday Q stuff right here.
What up? What up?
Reid, look at this. This is the Monday Q grind. If you've ever seen it, right here is you Monday qualified, and you ran to the course just to get a little extra view.
Yeah, the greens were so fucking slow at the Monday. It was got it.
Okay, Reid, first of all, congratulations. I mean, what a story, man. First Monday qualifier in 8 years. First tour Monday in 8 years. I mean, has it sunk in at all yet?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Even coming out here, I mean, I guess we just went over to the range. Obviously, no one's here because it's 7:17 at night. But we just went over to the range, and I know from my past caddying experience, you go to the range and on the Corn Ferry and PGA Tour, you go select what kind of balls you want. Well, I don't normally have that access, so I was just hitting Pro V1s on the range, and it was pretty special, man. It was that special moment, and Gavin's here his first event.
What's up, man? Congratulations!
Congrats, guys. So cool.
That's awesome.
Much appreciated.
Golden hour at the John Deere Classic is pretty sweet, man. It's
it was on the way home, so it worked out perfect.
So I assume, Reid, that have you caddied in this event before?
No, because the years that I was on tour caddying was when COVID was happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So we made up some of those events when we were gone, but a lot of those events were, missed out on.
What was kind of the decision to start playing? I mean, you played college golf. A lot of your buddies sent me messages like he's always been great. I assume in the back of your head you're like, man, especially caddying on tour, you're even closer than any of us are, and you're like, man, I feel like I might be able to play out there. Did that just kind of finally overpower it, and you're like, I got to give it a shot?
Yeah, I've always been gifted in the sense that I've had some talent. When I was younger, I never really had the course management aspect, you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Even into college, I never really had it. Caddying turned my view around on everything, especially when I'm, behind the mind of everything and giving numbers and whatnot and trying to guide and steer a player around the golf course. I always thought I had the talent for it, but I had a group of people at North Star Golf Club back in Sunbury, Ohio, basically, back me and help me out to get out here. I don't have the finances. I didn't have the finances to do it, and they gave me an opportunity and a chance to go play, and it's, I've been giving everything I got every day, every weaning hour, everything I got. I might have a beer after the round, but besides that, it's golf course, trying to get better at something every day.
What was the call like from the group, and the text messages from the group that have helped finance you?
Well,
Reid?
we're on the call right now, and I just got a text from Ryan Horace, call to Ryan Horace, saying congrats. It's been nonstop, man, but the love is real, and it's pretty it's awesome. It's words can't describe the feeling and the support that I've got. From here in town to back home in Columbus to back where I was born in Seattle. It's been nonstop since we got done, and it's pretty surreal.
Reid, when you have caddied in past seasons, who have you learned the most from, and whose game really helped you take that next step in learning your own course management?
Sure. I would say when I was out caddying on the PGA Tour, one round comes to memory real quick, and that was in Napa at the Safeway. And we played with Mark Leishman, I believe it was on Saturday. And Mark hits it a little bit lower than I do, per se, and he hits it a little bit different than I do flight-wise, but he has kind of the same tactics, hits it a long way, very aggressive when it calls for it. And, that's one that sticks to me where it's like, okay, this guy made a difference in the way I viewed golf. Obviously I still try to hit the same shots that I'm good at, and I try to play to my strengths. But in the end of it all, these guys are here for a reason, and you can take every piece of advice and learning instance and anything to, even if you're on the other side of the bag carrying, to learn, right? Even watching them hit like a short-sided pitch shot in buried rough. Like, how are they doing it? How are they getting it to trickle out? Not, jet across the green with topspin or what have you. So Leishman's won, and, we went to the U.S. Open, and we went to the PGA Championship and all that stuff. And, there's a lot of guys there that, we'd be warming up, and obviously I was all into our warm-up, whatever, but, in between breaks, there'd be someone hitting next to us, and you just dial in for 30 seconds and kind of hone in on what they're doing. How do they do it, and how do they hit the golf ball like they do? Like, how do they hit it low, or why do they hit it high, or how do they hit it high, or just trying to reason with everything to learn as much as you can. And that's just it. You try to take every piece of information and make as most out of it as much as you can.
Reid, first Monday qualifier in 8 years, and you start out birdieing 7 of the first 9 holes. Did you was there a point where you're like, okay, I gotta calm down here, or because you're inexperienced on this side of it, did you have to kind of take some time to, what were your thoughts? You turned in 29. You've been around the game enough to know, gotta just kind of steady the ship on the back 9. You should be okay. Did you have to take a minute on the first tee? You went back to front and just kind of like collect yourself?
Well, I turned in 29, right? And we teed off on 10, and 10 is like a 300 and I'm going to call it 355 yard par 4 that plays down like 35.
Yeah.
Or 40 or something like that. And I didn't birdie 10. And if you took a poll on the first 5 holes of what hole I wouldn't have birdied, it wouldn't have been that one, I can promise you.
Yeah, right.
And
did you hit driver there, Reid?
I did, yeah. I did hit driver, and it was okay. I mean, it was in fine shape. I had a decent look, but nothing crazy. Went to 11, and we were in the first cut on 11. We were on this weird little hump, and I had 7 iron in my hand. Sorry, I had 7 iron and water in front, and the caddy mind of me came in to say, let's hit one more golf club and take it long. Long's okay. Long's no problem. And so I ended up taking one more golf club, and peered the fuck out of it and ended up carrying the water by about 3 paces, right?
Oh.
So you use your knowledge and your insight that you've learned, and sometimes playing along in the green, that extra club, you're playing to the fat side, let's call it, is actually the right club. And so you playing to the correct side actually works out in double your favor, let's call it, right? I went to 12 and missed an ace by the ball ended up probably an inch and a half from the cup.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
And so, it's just, you take it as it comes. And over the years, I've learned that you just don't. And I see I struggle with it sometimes still. You can't look at the past, whether you've made 6 of 7 birdies or whether you've made 7 bogeys. Like, you just have to reset. And I made the turn at 7 under and went to 1 par 5 and made bogey. And my only bogey of the day, hit a good shot on the second ball, and I was behind a tree and I had to cut it about 35 yards and never cut. Went dead straight and into the heather. Made 6, and I walked to the second tee, and I literally just walked to the side for 2 minutes, 90 seconds, whatever you want to call it, and just took a deep breath and just reset. And I think that, you're talking about learning things from caddies in the past and players in the past. 5 years ago, that would never happen. Yeah. And I think that was a big difference in the way that we went about, continuing our round, birdieing 4, birdieing 5, eagling 7. I don't think that. I mean, I shouldn't say it wouldn't have happened, but it would have been a lot harder.
That's such great insight into when players talk about shooting low scores. I think the general public has this idea of like they were completely on fire and they were shooting at every pin. And things came easily, but I think you right there, the insight that you just gave, talking about having to play away from the hole sometimes, just letting your caddy experience kind of guide you, how important it is, and this is something that everybody can do, how important it is to center yourself, to take much deeper breaths. Like most people can't imagine how slow and deep of breaths they have to take to steady their heart rate. So that's great insight. Reid, how hard will you be on your caddy this week, given that you've been there?
Well, it's funny you ask that because I expect to be prepared. I don't care if we're playing in a 2-day mini tour event and I have a caddy, or if we're playing in a PGA Tour event. To me, it's all the same. In a small way. Obviously, a PGA Tour event is different than the mini tour events. Sorry, the grass mowers going by.
Oh, you're good.
But we're here for a reason. We got here for a reason. Let's keep it the same way, and just put in your due diligence. And I think it's pretty common to know, especially at this level, as caddies, to know what you need, right? You need slopes, you need green covers, you need bunker covers from the fairway, you need pitches and all that kind of stuff to be able to excel you to that point where if you hit a shot that you're looking for, it puts you in the right spot, right? And obviously we don't hit shots perfectly every time or where we're looking every time or the target we're looking at every time, but if you have that target and that number, the percentage of those shots that end up in the area where you're looking is going to go up, right? And so it's it's important to me, and it hard work on their end goes and pays on their end too, and in the long run, and I think that's a big thing. Like when I was caddying, there was some trees or sprinkler heads like 40 yards offline that I would have, and people are like, why do you have this? I'm like, well, what happens if we flare one? We don't have lasers out here, and now I'm dealing with angles. How do I figure this number out? How good these guys are, right? And so you ask about caddies. I think being prepared is huge. Knowing where every blade of grass on the golf course is huge. Where the slopes are at on the green is massive, especially because putting is the biggest part of the game, and putting from the right area makes it a lot easier.
Reid, Peter Kuest is going to join us here in a second, and so you might as well go pull what's now called a Peter Kuest and finish fourth. Get your close to your special temporary membership. So thanks. Best of luck. Play well this week. It's an awesome story, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, boys. I appreciate it. You guys take care of yourself and have a wonderful week.
Thanks.
You too, Reid.
Take care.
We'll have Peter come back on. I'm going to text Peter real quick. There he comes. Peter, how are you, man?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Peter Kuest, what a week you've had, man. What have you had a minute to relax at all and really think about what has happened over the last 90 holes in your career?
A little bit. I mean, we had a 6-hour drive from Detroit down to the John Deere, so I had a little bit of time to think, but not a whole lot. It's kind of on to the next.
So, Peter, are you aware of so for those that don't know, Peter got an exemption, I believe, into the Byron and played well. And so you have done exactly what I thought any conditional Korn Ferry member should do, is kind of chase Tour Mondays. And I assume after the Byron, it was like, of course, I'm going to chase Tour Mondays the rest of the year. I have a 14th. I assume that was a calculated decision, Peter, throughout the year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I talked with my agent a little bit, and it was like the position I'm in with, as far as points goes after the Byron, was like I have better standing on the PJ Tour than the Korn Ferry Tour, and so it's like a no-brainer to go play the PJ Tour Mondays instead of the Korn Ferry. And you've seen a couple of guys already, Ryan Gerard go out and get temporary membership and do it that way. And so I just figured, we'll just do the PJ Tour Mondays and, get through those.
Yep. You play well. I mean, you're leading the first day, played okay the second day. It's human. It's impossible to block out the number you need for special temporary membership, Peter, I assume. I mean, you try your best, or do you just embrace it and be like, hey, I know what I need?
No, you just embrace it. I mean, I knew before I even got through the Monday last week what I needed to get my card, and I knew it was like a T4 or something like that, and turned out it was a two-way tie for fourth or third or something. So I didn't factor that in, but I had an idea of where I was, and I mean it's the same this week. So nothing really changes. It's kind of teed up on Thursday, and play your best.
Peter, what changed for you after the Byron Nelson? Could you notice a difference in the way you felt, in your confidence, and your game after that tournament?
A little bit. Because there's always the unknown of I always figured I could play out here, but then it's going and doing it is a different thing, and then going and doing it and seeing the results and kind of seeing the work pay off a little bit gives you a little extra confidence going in, knowing, all right, I can go do this. I can compete. And then it's just trying to do it week in and week out.
Peter, you this week you need like a two-way tie for 67th or something. And again, back to that, I assume what you have to do mentally is really just still think that you're going to win or play for the win. Golfers, I've been around enough pro golfers to know, you start playing for a cut, it's a bad deal, right? You have to really, I assume, train yourself to have the same mentality you had going into the Rocket Mortgage and those kind of things. And then the 67th or whatever it is takes care of itself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just playing golf. So you just try to play the best you can. And, you played, I was raised, you play to win, no matter what position you're in or what sport you do or what you're doing. You play to win, you play to be the best. And, that's what we're going to try to go do this week.
Well, Peter, what does it say about, you finished outside of the top 100 at final stage of Q school last year, and then made the decision, as Ryan often talks about, once you get to a certain point in the season and you haven't accumulated enough starts on Corn Ferry, but you have Corn Ferry status, you make the shift and you start chasing PGA Tour Mondays as consistently as you can. What does it say about the margin between, let's say top Corn Ferry players or even average Corn Ferry players in your mind, and kind of players in the PGA Tour who maybe aren't quite as established? What does it say to you that the difference is?
That's hard to say because it's different for everyone. I've always been more comfortable. When I've been able to play the PGA Tour events, I've always felt I've been more comfortable out there, compared to the Corn Ferry events where the courses are a little different. They might not really set up for, distance. Corn Ferry, everyone kind of hits it in the same spot and goes from there. And, it's a putting contest where you could shoot 20 under and take 30th, So, whereas 20 under out here is, pretty dang good, as we saw last week. But there's tons of good players everywhere. And, I'm just trying to do my best.
I mean, you bring up a good point, Peter. There's just players, right, that are better tour players, but you have to find a way to get to that next step, whatever that is, the way you've done it now, or you have to figure out how to compete on the Corn Ferry Tour. But it doesn't necessarily translate either. It doesn't necessarily mean the guy finishing towards the bottom of the Corn Ferry list can't play on tour, and it doesn't mean the top guy on the Corn Ferry Tour can play on the PGA Tour. I mean, the courses are just not vastly different, but different enough that it's a different game up there than it is on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Definitely, yeah, and too, it's a timing thing. There's you see a lot of times and guys get hot and they play really well and get out there and kind of cool off and play really well again on the Corn Ferry and then keep going. So I mean, golf's a lot of timing. Play well at the right times and it pays off.
Last question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
Mark. I was
Mark.
going to say, where does last week's performance, Peter, rank on your overall all-time finishes in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the best finish to date, for sure.
I'm sorry, play-wise, is that the very best you've ever played?
No, not at all, I don't think. I mean, we played really solid, and I feel like I'm getting back to playing the way I know I can play. Last year and a half, 2 years have been slow and tough, and been dealing with some things here and there, and we're getting the ball rolling and excited to see where it goes.
All right, last question, Peter, and then get back. What was it like to have a Monday off? It's weird. It's got to throw off your whole schedule, dude.
It was really nice to get out to the course, the John Deere, and just work on the game a little bit and not have to. I think it was like an 8 a.m. tee time today if I didn't top 10, and so it was really nice to WD from that and sleep in and go get some real food at the course instead of the hotel breakfast and protein bars. It was really nice. So
I was doing some. I was looking at the leaderboard today before the start, and you're still on there. And I was doing some math. I was like, oh shit! If he didn't top 10, a couple late bogeys, he would have had to run over there. Would have been a 1 a.m. You didn't get in the hotel. So Peter, it's awesome. Obviously, tracked it all week. This is why Mondays are. This is why 100 guys show up. 200 guys show up at a pre-qualifier at the John Deere Classic because they believe they have the opportunity to do this. So congratulations, man. Play well this week. I hope you get, if it doesn't work out this week, I hope you get some more opportunities down the road. Awesome to see. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you so much. And, thank you for having me and keep doing what you do.
Thanks, man. Enjoy the week.
Peter.
Play well.
Keep it rolling.
Thank you.
All right, back to back. We had a guest. That was the first live one that I was panicked. I panicked, Mark.
I noticed you were panicking a little bit. I saw Peter
I was trying
in the
to find a way
waiting
to like cut Reid off, and I couldn't do it. But he was amazing, and everybody was it all worked out. Peter was great. Reid was great. That's our first 2 live guests, Mark. It worked.
It worked. 2 pretty good ones too. The man who wins the Monday qualifier today, and the man who all Monday qualifiers are aspiring to be at the moment.
Yep, exactly. I'm getting eaten alive. Thanks to Perun. This is the battery. This is why we can do this outside in the middle of nowhere. Oh, I just hit that. Oh, there we go. This thing. Powered by Perun.com. Go check it out. You can charge your phone 200 times on one charge. Let that sink in for a minute.
And next week we'll get to see you with a bug zapper.
Yeah, and it doesn't help with bugs. I know that. My son Jackson is covered in bug bites. God, America. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Perun. Go check him out. Thanks, Mark Baldwin. Playing hurt today. And that's it. See you next week.
See you next week.